Hello, Brentwood, and welcome to the podcast. In this episode, we are going to start with the Select Board meeting from December 2nd. The meeting began quietly, with a moment of silence for Richard Dick Chamberlain, whose life was being commemorated this week at Pilgrim Church. Dick was a beloved member of our community. He served as town moderator from 1979 till 2024. He served with heart, integrity, and a genuine love for our town and all its residents. Please keep the Chamberlain family in your prayers during this difficult time. From there, the board approved the consent agenda, payroll register, and the treasurer's report. The town's general fund balance stands at $1.96 million healthy, but under the shadow of tight budgeting months ahead. That set the stage for the night's first big discussion. The spotlight was on Chief Murch, who, after about 30 days in his new role as Brentwood Police Chief, had a lot to share. The chief entered the room to a warm but curious reception from the board. He began with good spirits, joking that things have gone pretty well, other than the snow. But beneath the humor, he brought serious updates on his recertification process, a required step since some of his law enforcement credentials had lapsed before taking the position. In the past month, he's completed everything from use of force and weapons training to a full 40-hour field program with Sergeant Spitaleri. He's scheduled to appear before the Police Standards and Training Council on December 12th, where he'll seek reinstatement of his full-time certification. If approved, his final step will be what's called a law package, a 5-day block at the State Academy, likely beginning in January. Once completed, he'll be fully recertified. The board had questions. One member clarified that under their agreement, Chief Murch was expected to obtain certification within a reasonable time, and the chief confirmed he's on pace to meet that. Another raised a procedural question whether the town, as hiring authority, needed to formally submit a Form E for his reinstatement. Chief Murch promised to check and follow up with documentation to ensure compliance. But as the conversation evolved, something deeper came through: the board's different expectations for what kind of chief the town needs. Chief Murch made it clear: the expectation isn't for him to patrol full-time, but to manage and stabilize the department as an administrator and leader, a department builder, not just a street cop. The board seemed comfortable with this, though one member reminded him that full certification is still a contractual must. Next, Chief Murch turned to progress he's already made. He announced that mutual aid had been restored with the town of Epping. He is very appreciative of Chief Wallace and his department's willingness to reinstate. Since relations had been strained, this was a major step in rebuilding credibility. He also secured partnership commitments from New Hampshire State Police Troop A and Rockingham County Sheriff's Department, both pledging assistance to Brentwood when needed. That mutual support, he said, is vital for a small-town department facing limited manpower. Board members thanked him, noting how vital those relationships are in an era of thin law enforcement staffing across the state. When the chief turned to staffing, his tone grew measured. 4 part-time officers had chosen to resign, declining to pick up weekend shifts that the department urgently needed covered. That left only 2 sergeants, 3 full-time officers, and the chief himself, with 1 officer currently on light duty. For the short term, the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office has been covering weekend day shifts, but at a significantly higher cost, about $66 an hour compared to a part-timer's pay. Chief Murch emphasized that this stopgap will end soon, with his current goal being no reliance on the Sheriff's Department after next week. When asked how he plans to sustain full coverage, he explained the shift adjustments. moving officers from 4-day on, 3-day off schedules to a 5-and-2 rotation, and committing to fill gaps personally when needed. The board agreed to reserve the more sensitive personnel issues for non-public session. The real headline of the evening was the police department's new proposed budget. Chief Murch presented a plan that cuts $136,460, a 9.69% reduction from the prior year. It's a rare thing in local government, a public safety budget going down, not up. He explained that the savings largely came from eliminating the $55,000 part-time officer line, postponing the purchase of a new cruiser, removing funds allocated for a K-9 program, and careful reductions in overtime and retirement obligations. He walked through line items, showing that careful reallocations and better scheduling could maintain coverage while trimming cost. The proposed total came to $1,215,756, a figure that one board member described as an excellent budget. But the discussion turned philosophical when it came to staffing levels and structure. Chief Murch argued for maintaining funding for 9 full-time positions, even though not all are filled, adding that losing those budgeted slots could permanently cap the department's size due to New Hampshire's 4% municipal spending limit. He also wanted to reinstate a lieutenant position, an experienced second-in-command vital to department operations and leadership development. You need a bench, someone who can step up and someday lead. Some board members agreed wholeheartedly. Others voiced caution about tight labor markets and the possibility of training your bench only to have them leave. Still, consensus leaned toward trust in his plan and appreciation for his fiscal discipline. By the end of deliberations, the board voted to approve the police budget as proposed. It was a defining moment in the meeting, a show of support for the new chief's approach after just 1 month in office. I had the opportunity to talk with Chief Murch for a few minutes, and while he is very happy with how things have been playing out, what he is the most proud of are the men and women of the police department who stayed with the town during the uncertain times that it has recently experienced. In his words, they need to be applauded. The chief is 100% right. Please, if you happen to be in the presence of any of our great officers, please let them know how much we appreciate them and the fact they stood by us. They deserve a pat on the back. I feel with Chief Murch at the helm and the great corps of officers he has by his side that we will now have one of the premier police departments in the area. After Police Matters, the board moved to a series of smaller but necessary budget reopenings for various departments. To align all town wages with the recently approved 2.8% cost of living increase, they reopened and amended budgets for the town clerk, tax collector, planning board, highway department, snow and ice, cemetery, and welfare. Each revision was quickly approved, mostly procedural, but important to ensure every department adhered to the same standards. Next, Conservation Commission Chair Rob Wolfchuk joined to formalize a new consulting contract with environmental specialist Anna Boudreau. Her agreement clarified rates and caps not exceeding $9,500 total and $90 per hour, ensuring both fiscal responsibility and access to professional conservation expertise when needed. The board approved the contract after a small language clarification. Another key administrative change proposed was removing the requirement that the Board of Selectmen personally sign building permits, delegating that responsibility to the building inspector. This change modernizes process and aligns Brentwood with surrounding towns, allowing technical experts to approve permits while the board handles appeals or exceptions. After a short discussion about legal safeguards and planning board involvement, the motion passed unanimously. The board then considered formal employment agreements for 2 key staff, the town administrator and the building inspector. Both were structured as at-will, professional salary contracts, but included negotiated pay terms. The town administrator's contract passed easily. The building inspector's, however, sparked debate over his agreed-upon series of raises, 2 scheduled 3% increases as part of his hiring conditions. Some members objected, arguing it wasn't documented by the full board. Others defended it as part of a gentleman's agreement necessary to bring him on board. In the end, the board voted to approve the contract as written with 1 dissenting vote, a rare flash of tension amid an otherwise cooperative session. Committee updates were short. The Budget Committee continues aligning town and school numbers. Highway crews were out salting and plowing. Recreation and personnel items were moved to non-public session. Then came the open microphone session, and perhaps the emotional heart of the evening. Resident Betsy Ibbotson delivered a critical statement questioning the town's fiscal priorities. She highlighted added trash collection costs, potential problems with the Stevens property, the Brentwood newsletter, and the practice of select board members commenting on private social media pages. She also questioned paying a not yet certified police chief full salary and expressed disappointment that too many things feel the same as the last board. Her comments were firm but respectful, the kind of civic participation that both challenges and breathes life into small-town democracy. The board responded to each point one by one, defending cost decisions on trash, explaining the Stevens property's conservation value, clarifying the chief's certification path and his significant work, including restoring mutual aid, then reasserting that the newsletter's funding was voter-approved. Tension surfaced around social media, with Betsy arguing that residents excluded from local Facebook groups lose access to information, and the board countering that those are private platforms, not official channels. Ultimately, it ended civilly, with both sides having their say, a snapshot of accountability in real time. Before adjourning, Laura Hajar, who was acting as interim welfare administrator, raised two practical matters: appointing Dawn Hannock to voting status on the Regional Welfare Association and approving longtime Exeter Administrator Pam Roy as an alternate. Both were confirmed unanimously, with expirations aligned to the existing board cycle. She also politely reminded the board that her temporary welfare role wasn't meant to be forever, and that they needed to finalize a permanent hire, something set for next week's agenda. Before the board went into non-public session, board member Jim Michaud took a heartfelt pause to address an incident that had struck a nerve. That morning, a Brentwood ambulance had slid off the road during the snowstorm. No one was injured, but according to reports, a bystander didn't offer help. Instead, they berated the emergency crew. He spoke with real emotion, condemning the behavior and imploring the community to do better. "These are the people who would risk their lives to save you," he said. "They don't care who you voted for, what faith you have, they just show up. We owe them respect." It was a striking moment, personal, civic, and deeply human. In small towns like ours, local government meetings may not have the spotlight of state or national politics, but they're where the real work of democracy happens. One motion, one question, one resident's voice at a time. We thought, given the time of year, it might be fun to talk about the holidays and how different cultures celebrate this time of year. Today we're embarking on a fascinating journey around the globe to explore how different cultures celebrate the winter season. While many of us are familiar with Christmas, countless other beautiful traditions light up the darkest time of year across the world. From ancient festivals of light to modern multicultural celebrations, these holidays share common themes of hope, renewal, and community, yet each carries its own unique flavor and meaning. Please forgive my mispronunciations. I apologize in advance and will do my best. Over the next few minutes, we'll travel from Scandinavia to East Asia, from the Middle East to Latin America, discovering how people mark this special season. So grab your favorite warm beverage, settle in, and let's explore the rich tapestry of winter celebrations that make our world so wonderfully diverse. Let's begin our journey with Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights, which typically falls in late November or December. This 8-day celebration commemorates a miracle that occurred over 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem. When the Maccabees reclaimed their temple from foreign rulers, they found only enough consecrated oil to light the temple's menorah for one day, yet miraculously, it burned for 8 days. Today, Jewish families around the world celebrate by lighting one additional candle on the menorah each night, starting with 1 candle and building to 8. The 9th candle, called the shamash, is used to light the others. Families gather to recite blessings, sing traditional songs, and play dreidel, a spinning top game that children especially love. Traditional foods play a central role too, particularly those fried in oil to commemorate the miracle. Crispy potato latkes served with applesauce or sour cream, and sweet jelly-filled donuts called sugga neyoti. It's a time for gift-giving, storytelling, and remembering the importance of religious freedom and perseverance. Moving to a more recent tradition, Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga as a celebration of African American culture and heritage. Running from December 26th through January 1st, Kwanzaa honors 7 core principles called the Nguzo Saba, with each day dedicated to one principle: unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Families celebrate by lighting the Canara, a 7-branched candle holder with 3 red candles on the left representing struggle, 3 green candles on the right representing hope and the future, and 1 black candle in the center representing the people. Each evening, families gather to light a candle, discuss that day's principle, and reflect on how to apply it in their lives. The celebration includes African drumming, storytelling, poetry, and a feast called Karamu on December 31st, featuring traditional African and African American dishes. Homes are decorated in the Pan-African colors of red, black, and green, and children often receive educational gifts that promote cultural awareness and learning. Now let's travel to South Asia for Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights, which actually occurs in October or November, but shares many thematic elements with winter celebrations. Diwali is one of the most important festivals in Hinduism, celebrating the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. The festival's timing varies based on the lunar calendar, but its 5-day celebration is marked by spectacular displays of light. The name Diwali comes from the Sanskrit word Deepavali, meaning row of lights. Families clean and decorate their homes, then illuminate them with countless clay oil lamps called diyas, candles, and modern string lights. The effect is absolutely breathtaking. Entire neighborhoods glow with warm, flickering light. Intricate rangoli designs made from colored powders, rice, or flower petals adorn doorways and courtyards, welcoming the goddess Lakshmi, who represents wealth and prosperity. The celebration includes new clothes, elaborate feasts featuring sweets like ladoos and barfi, fireworks displays that light up the night sky, and the exchange of gifts among family and friends. It's also a time for prayer, reflection, and new beginnings. Many businesses start their new financial year during Diwali. While rooted in Hinduism, Diwali is also celebrated by Sikhs, Jains, and some Buddhists, each with their own historical significance attached to the festival. Traveling north to Scandinavia and ancient Europe, we encounter Yule, a pre-Christian winter solstice celebration that has influenced many modern Christmas traditions. The winter solstice, occurring around December 21st, marks the longest night of the year and the gradual return of longer days, a powerful symbol of hope and renewal in the depths of winter. Ancient Germanic and Norse peoples celebrated Yule with great feasts, bonfires, and the burning of the Yule log, a carefully selected log that would burn throughout the 12 days of celebration. The ashes were believed to have protective and fertilizing powers. Evergreen trees and boughs were brought indoors as symbols of eternal life, and homes were decorated with holly, ivy, and mistletoe, all of which held sacred significance. Today, many modern pagans and Wiccans continue to celebrate the winter solstice with rituals honoring the return of the sun. They might hold vigils through the longest night, light candles at dawn, exchange handmade gifts, and feast with seasonal foods. Even those who don't identify as pagan often mark the solstice as a time to reflect on the year passing and the light returning, a moment to pause in our busy lives and connect with the natural rhythms of the earth. In East Asia, the winter solstice is celebrated as the Dongji festival, particularly important in Chinese, Taiwanese, Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese cultures. Dongji, meaning winter's arrival, is considered a time when yin energy is at its peak and yang energy begins to return, representing the balance and cyclical nature of life. The festival centers around family reunions and special foods. In southern China and Taiwan, families gather to make and eat tang yuan, colorful glutinous rice balls served in sweet soup. The round shape symbolizes reunion and completeness, and eating them is said to make you 1 year older in the traditional counting system. In northern China, dumplings are the traditional food, with their shape resembling ancient gold ingots and symbolizing wealth and prosperity. In Korea, the festival is called Donggi, and families eat patjuk, a red bean porridge with small rice dumplings. The red color is believed to ward off evil spirits and bad luck. The Japanese celebrate Toji by taking hot yuzu citrus baths, believed to prevent colds and bring good fortune. These traditions emphasize the importance of family, health, and preparing for the year ahead, all while marking the astronomical turning point of winter. Let's journey to Latin America for Las Posadas, a beautiful 9-day celebration observed primarily in Mexico and parts of Central America from December 16th to the 24th. This tradition reenacts Mary and Joseph's search for shelter in Bethlehem before Jesus' birth, combining religious devotion with joyful community celebration. Each evening, participants form a procession, with children often dressed as angels and adults, carrying candles and figures of Mary and Joseph. The group travels from house to house, singing traditional songs requesting shelter. At each stop, those inside initially refuse entry, singing responses, until finally, the pilgrims are welcomed into a designated home for that night's celebration. Once inside, the festivities begin with prayers, more songs, and then the highlight for children, breaking the piñata. These aren't just any piñatas. Traditional ones are star-shaped with 7 points representing the 7 deadly sins, and breaking them symbolizes overcoming temptation. Inside are fruits, nuts, and candies that shower down when the piñata breaks. The evening continues with ponche, a warm fruit punch, tamales, buñuelos, fried pastries, and other traditional foods. Las Posadas beautifully blends religious meaning with community bonding, hospitality, and celebration. In Scandinavia, particularly Sweden, December 13th brings St. Lucia Day, a festival of light during the darkest time of year. This celebration honors St. Lucia, a Christian martyr, but also incorporates older Norse traditions about light conquering darkness. The day begins early, often before dawn, with a procession led by a young girl chosen to portray St. Lucia. She wears a white gown with a red sash and a crown of candles on her head, a striking and beautiful sight. She's followed by attendants also dressed in white, carrying candles and singing traditional songs, particularly the haunting Santa Lucia. In Swedish homes, the eldest daughter often takes on the role of Lucia, waking her family with song and serving them saffron buns called luciakat and ginger cookies. Schools, churches, and communities hold their own Lucia processions and concerts. The celebration emphasizes light, hope, and the anticipation of Christmas, while also honoring the importance of young women and girls in the community. It's a uniquely Scandinavian tradition that transforms the dark December mornings into something magical and memorable. As we near the end of our journey, let's visit Japan for Omisoka and Shogatsu, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which are the most important holidays in Japanese culture. While not specifically a Christmas equivalent, these celebrations mark the winter season's most significant time for renewal and family connection. Omisoka, December 31st, is a day of thorough house cleaning to sweep away the old year's troubles and prepare for fresh beginnings. Families eat toshi koshi soba, long buckwheat noodles symbolizing longevity in the crossing from one year to the next. At midnight, Buddhist temples ring their bells 108 times, representing the 108 earthly desires that cause human suffering, with each ring helping to cleanse these desires. Shogatsu, the New Year period, is a time for family reunions, visiting shrines for Hatsumoide, the first shrine visit, and enjoying special foods called Oshi Chirayori, beautifully arranged dishes in lacquered boxes, each with symbolic meaning. Black beans represent health, herring roe symbolizes fertility, and sweet rolled omelet represents wealth. Homes are decorated with kadomat, supine, and bamboo arrangements, and kagame mochi stacked rice cakes. Children receive otoshidama, money in decorative envelopes, and families play traditional games. It's a time of reflection, gratitude, and hope for the year ahead. As we conclude our journey around the world, what becomes clear is that despite our different traditions, languages, and beliefs, humans everywhere share fundamental needs and hopes during the darkest time of year. Whether we're lighting menorahs, kinara candles, diyas, or Yule logs, we're all seeking the same thing: light in the darkness, warmth in the cold, and connection with those we love. These celebrations remind us that diversity isn't something to merely tolerate, but to celebrate and learn from. Each tradition offers unique wisdom. Hanukkah teaches us about perseverance, Kwanzaa about community principles, Diwali about the triumph of good, the winter solstice about natural cycles, Dongju about balance, Las Posadas about hospitality, St. Lucia Day about hope, and Shogatsu about renewal. Thank you for joining me on this global journey. May your winter season be filled with light, warmth, and meaningful connections, however you choose to celebrate. On Saturday, December 13th at the Tonrai Cemetery, there will be a National Wreaths Across America remembrance ceremony for our veterans. It is a free community event open to all residents, veterans, and their friends and families.
Brentwood Joe's Town Hall podcast is produced and brought to you by Cry Out Media Creations, your go-to team for AI audio and video magic. From promotional spots to custom voiceovers, marketing, and entertainment, we make your ideas come alive. Visit cryoutmediacreations.com and tell us about your vision.
It is at 12 noon. The fire department would like everyone to know that Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa will be visiting Brentwood on Saturday, December 20th with a backup weather date of Sunday the 21st. He will begin his rounds at 9 a.m., making his way through as many streets as possible. Keep an ear out for the sirens so you don't miss him. The fire department would also like to announce their annual community toy drive. Giving trees are set up town office and the fire station. Several groups have offered to help this year. If you know a family who could use a little extra support this holiday season, please reach out to them. They are here to help. Please return all unwrapped gifts with their tags to the collection boxes by Friday the 12th. The Brentwood Fire Department wishes all of us a safe, joyful, and happy holiday season. As always, please let first responders know how much we appreciate them, what they do for us, and how proud we are of them. They do a thankless, mostly unseen, incredibly important job for us. Please give warm wishes to those in our armed forces. They also have a thankless job that is the only thing that allows us to celebrate the holidays every year, while a good many of them are unable to celebrate with their own families. Until next time, I hope you all stay safe and happy. Thank you for listening, Brentwood.
We'll sing together, oh Brentwood Joe.